What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Layne and I am a nurse and nurse practitioner student, and I give you guys a ton of FNP Nurse Practitioner School content. So if you are an FNP student or you're thinking about becoming one, you're definitely going to want to subscribe to my channel because I give you all of my tips and I share a lot of my journey as I am going through FNP school on this channel. All right, guys, so for this video, I am going to be talking about common questions asked at FNP interviews. So if you're applying to schools and getting ready for those interviews, you're going to want to watch this video and see some of the questions that I've heard, and I can help guide you a little bit of ways that you can answer this question and things to think about when you answer these questions. All right, guys, let's get into today's video. So a common question that they would probably ask you at your FNP interview is, why did you choose the FNP specialty versus another specialty? And with this question, something to keep in mind is the fact that you should know that with FNP, like with an FNP degree, you are signing up to care for patients across the lifespan. So cradle to grave. So that is really what differentiates it a lot from other specialties like adult gero or inpatient, because those are really even more specialized in a way. They're more narrowed down. But FNP, it really cares for like the person across their lifetime. And so that's something to think about and really tailor your question as to why is that important to you? Why do you really want to care for those patients? And it's important to say that you are interested in doing that. Like it would be maybe not as wise to talk only about what you care about in the adult world. You definitely want to talk about why you care about caring for adults and pediatric patients as well. And with that, just understand that FNPs may not be able to really work in the inpatient world. I know some hospitals and some orgs are still hiring FNPs in the hospital, but it really seems like FNPs are going the route of being all outpatient. So that's something to be aware of when you're tailoring your answers, because if you're saying, yeah, I want to do FNP because I want to be in the hospital and, you know, saving lives in the ICU, depending on your program, that might raise a red flag because that is starting to sound a little bit more like acute care NP. And maybe that's something you should think about too in making sure that FNP is really for you. But FNP tends to be a lot more outpatient, either like primary care or urgent care or different specialties, but that are outpatient. And that doesn't mean that whatever you end up doing has to deal with all patients across the lifespan. Like you could end up in a specialty that doesn't really have pediatric patients. But in the interview, you really want to talk about you're aware that FNPs have that ability and that's what the specialty is for. Another question that they may ask you is, what are your career goals? Or where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And this might be an essay, but they might also ask you this in the interview, and you kind of want to have this ready, talking about what setting you see yourself in. And this kind of goes back to that FNP question, like why did you choose this specialty? Talking about that you see yourself more in the outpatient setting, if that's truly how you feel. And if this is the time, if you're thinking about any kind of teaching maybe in the future, any kind of leadership, and maybe if you see that they have certain classes that you think would help prepare you for that, even research or public health, like if you want to take your degree and really turn it into something like that, in addition to providing patient care, that could be something to talk about as well, because that's something for them to remember about you, and it shows that you really researched their program and you know what they offer and that you're passionate about their program. Another question that they are likely to ask you is, how do you plan to balance your life with a rigorous academic program? And this is something that you should be thinking for yourself before you accept even any kind of program offer, is how are you going to do that? Like I would definitely bullet down a couple of answers to that before going in, about, do you have time management skills? I mean, how in the past have you planned things so that you were able to accomplish rigorous academics? If you're someone who uses a planner, if you're someone who, you know, has, I mean, there's so many different strategies that you could use, but this is the time that you would want to talk about how you practically think that you'll be able to handle that. If you have a significant other who's going to be helping you, This is something that they're going to ask about because this is one of the hardest parts about getting an NP degree, is balancing that with all of your other commitments. And I talk about that in another video too, about is NP school harder than nursing school? And one of the things that is hard is balancing your life with school. And so that's something to think about, and it's something that they may ask you. Another question that they may ask you is, tell us about a time that you had a very challenging obstacle and how you overcame it. Because this one is also important, and it's kind of looped back to the last question. They want to know that when things get hard, you have some grit and you have some coping mechanisms and some strategies that you've used in the past to get through difficult times. Because getting an NP degree can be pretty difficult. It can be a lot of stress, and they want to know that your stress management skills are where they need to be. And that's important for you to know as well, because you want to make sure that your mental health is going to be okay during this program. No one wants you to completely, go off the rails with your mental health in order to get the degree. So that's something that you should think about, and what boundaries are you going to put in place to be able to get the degree as healthily as you can. But that's something that they may ask you as well. And then there's the infamous tell us about yourself question, which I am not a fan of, but I also get why they ask this, because they want to get to know a little bit about you that may not be so clear on your resume or your application. So this is the time to talk about more of your professional accomplishments that may not be apparent, and a little bit of personal things that aren't really unprofessional, but a little bit of personal anecdotes about you. Like if you are a veteran, which honestly should be on your application, but if for some reason it's not, you want to talk about that. You want to talk about, if you have had a lot of struggles in your life about something that is not on your application, but that you have overcome them, or that have influenced why maybe your GPA in undergrad wasn't as strong because your mom was sick or something like that. That's also the time to talk about that, and really just answer any question marks that you think might be in their mind. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. But guys, don't forget to like this video and to subscribe. I have plenty of more content coming your way, and I'd love to hear from you. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.